coach lots of men, and this pattern repeats itself. Something is taken away from them: health, job, status, marriage, and all of a sudden their identity as a human being collapses. The kingdom falls. And with no blueprint to rebuild it, alcohol steps in. What happens when a man loses his throne? Not in some Game of Thrones fantasy world, but in real life. When the job ends, when the body fails, when the role of provider, protector, and pillar of the family and the community collapses, what happens then? Today, we dedicate this episode to our amazing podcast editor, the guy working behind the scenes to turn this dribble into magic. His name is Stan, and he's in Ukraine. And more importantly, to Stan's father. Because the story of Stan's father isn't rare. It's a story of so many men who have turned to the bottle, not for pleasure, but because they lost their place in the world. And we need to talk about it. Hello everybody, my name is Davy. I am not an alcoholic. I refuse to be anonymous. I am someone who lives a self-led life, alcohol-free as fuck, and I spend every waking moment of that life helping other people like today. Stan, our brilliant podcast editor in Ukraine, told me something about his dad, a story that I found really moving and wanted to bring to you today with his permission, right? His father was a very successful small business owner. He was a provider, a community man, a proud figure in his town. And then one day, he lost his eyesight. Not fully, but drastically. So he was down to about 10%, mostly peripheral, okay? And with this loss, he also lost his role, his power, his purpose, and he started to drink. And 7 years later, at 45 years of age, 5 years younger than I am now, right? He was dead. Now, Stan's story is heartbreaking, but what's more tragic is how common this is. I've coached lots of men, and this pattern repeats itself. Something is taken away from them: health, job, status, marriage, and all of a sudden their identity as a human being collapses. The kingdom falls. And with no blueprint to rebuild it, alcohol steps in. And this is what I want to talk a little bit about, the concept from internal family systems known as a legacy burden, all right? A legacy burden is a belief or emotional pattern passed down through generations that no longer serves us. And for many men, me included, one of the deepest legacy burdens that we inherit subconsciously through generations of men, right, passing it down: I am only worthy if I provide, okay? And it's not just about money. It's about status, it's about power, reputation, external validation. The lawn must be the right shade of green. The car must look beautiful and be of a certain design and brand. My wife must be beautiful. My kids must be beautiful and smart. The job or career that I choose must be respectable and must be revered throughout my community. And most importantly, there always has to be work. Because without it, what am I? Right, we're about to take a short break, but before I do, I want you to reflect on this. What part of you has been desperately holding up your castle, even while the kingdom is crumbling? And who would you be if you didn't have to hold it together? Take a breath, have a think. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the 1000 Days Sober podcast. And before the break, we were talking about what happens when men lose their sense of purpose and how alcohol fills the void. So let's explore the path back from that collapse, okay? We must reclaim our worth from the rubble, because here's the truth, right? Self-esteem is not out there. It's not in the car. It's not in the job. It's not in the role. It's not in the color of your lawn. It's in us. And it's always been in us. But for many of us, that self-esteem is hidden in a vault deep down with no code. And we were never taught how to access it, never shown what healthy, grounded, self-led masculinity really looks like. Most of us, me included at my age, saw men chasing status, striving to be liked, terrified of failure. And when life stripped their roles away, we saw them fall apart, right? During my days on the railway, I worked in Hereford as a roster clerk, and there was a little mini supervisor office there. I remember one of the blokes, he was about to retire, and we was all getting excited about having a do for him, right? The one person who wasn't excited was this supervisor. When I spoke to him one night and got really close about why he wanted to keep working on the railway, when we were all like, dude, you should be grateful you're leaving. He told me that he was terrified of leaving because he had been to so many funerals of men who had just retired from the railway. So people were retiring from the railway and then they were dying within the next couple of years. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that these men couldn't find a reason to live without their jobs. They didn't want freedom, they wanted purpose. And when that vanished, so did they. And this supervisor, that's what he thought, and that's what he was scared of. Not long ago, I did a podcast episode talking about the dismay I felt about the UK pubs being allowed to open at 9 a.m. and how I walked past Wetherspoons in Cardiff and looked in and I saw at least 10 men drinking alone on 10 different tables with 10 different pints. And I want to revisit that now because what they've really lost isn't just connection to other people. I believe they've lost their connection to themselves. And that's why they find themselves in a pub drinking alcohol at 9 o'clock in the morning, right? So what's the solution to this madness? Well, it starts with this: finding access to self. You need to build a life around who you are, not what you do. Surround yourself with people you can trust so you can learn to say and be vulnerable, I'm fucking struggling. I don't feel enough, right? Learn to speak, not to be fixed, but to be held by other men. Because men will know how you're feeling. Men will know what you're going through. Men will help you to learn to be seen, to feel like you're heard and that you matter. And that's the work that we do inside the Strive. We teach men how to open that vault, to sit in a room with other men, even if it's digitally, and just open up and be vulnerable and say, here's the truth of my life. And it to be met not with rejection, not with shame, but with honor. Today's daily vow. Today, I will not tie my worth to what I do, and I will remember who I am. And I will not drink because I am already enough. Some questions for you to think about as you go about today. When did I last truly feel proud of myself without anyone else knowing? What do I fear would happen if I lost my job, my role, or my title, my status? And what part of me still believes I have to earn my right to be loved? Have a little think. If you want me to know the answers, email me at thestrivemethod@gmail.com. If this episode spoke to you, please rate and review the show. I would really appreciate that. That would be very gracious of you to allow very important information like this to get in the ear holes of men who otherwise wouldn't find us, okay? Subscribe as well, really important because it tells the algorithm, I want to listen to this podcast. If you want more support, if you're a man out there and you're thinking, what the fuck? Like, I don't know where I am. There's more to life than this. You're going through some sort of midlife awakening, as I like to say. Then email me at strivemethod@gmail.com. I'll give you more information on the Strive foundations and we'll get you on the inside here, helping you to start living a self-led life, alcohol-free as fuck, okay? All right, are you ready to take the sovereign vow with me? One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, big deep breath. Repeat after me. I am a striver who is alcohol-free as fuck. And I will not drink today because that is not what I do and that is not who I am. Until tomorrow, much love and strive on. And Stan, I love you, bro. Thanks for everything you do, not just for me, but for the world out there, okay? Much love. Take care, everybody.